Okay, let's unpack this. We've got a fascinating stack of source material today, centered around Kasia Roberts' book, Herbal Antibiotics.
That's right. This source positions itself as a guide to exploring herbal medicine, specifically natural antibiotics, antivirals.
And it really sets the stage by asking us to look back at, well, older practices, understanding the sheer strength and complexity of the plant kingdom.
Contrasting that with our modern medical landscape. Yeah,
Exactly. The core problem this material addresses head on is the current synthetic antibiotic crisis.
right. Making it clear that bacteria are evolving resistance faster than we can develop new drugs to fight them.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Which honestly is a pretty sobering thought. The source dives deep into the issues with conventional antibiotics.
and then shifts focus completely to a whole catalog of herbs, detailing their specific uses, even offering recipes.
So, our mission for this deep dive is really to extract the most valuable knowledge from this material.
We want to understand the challenges with synthetic antibiotics as presented here, and then really explore the potential of these herbal alternatives.
For prevention, treatment, overall health, just as outlined in this source.
Exactly.
For you, the listener, who wants to get well-informed quickly, thoroughly, without feeling, swamped, this deep dive should give you a clear, engaging look at the possibilities of herbal remedies, grounded firmly in the specifics shared in this book.
Hopefully, yeah.
So let's jump into the picture this source paints about conventional antibiotics. It starts by explaining their basic purpose. They treat bacterial infections.
Right, tackling fungi, parasites, and bacteria.
But a crucial distinction the source makes right away is that they are ineffective against viruses. That's key.
Absolutely. And depending on the drug, they target specific types of bacteria, either aerobic ones that need oxygen or anaerobic ones that don't.
Okay, so how do they actually work? The source outlines two main approaches. Some are bactericidal.
Meaning they kill the bacteria completely. They do this by messing with the bacteria's cell wall or their internal DNA.
Okay.
The other type is bacteriostatic.
Right.
These don't kill the bacteria outright. Instead, they stop them from multiplying.
So buys time.
Basically, yeah.
Hmm.
Buys time for your own body's immune system to catch up and clear the infection.
Now here's where the source really highlights the crisis we face. Bacteria are becoming incredibly resistant. And the key reason presented is their rapid evolution. Think about this. Bacteria can reproduce, create a new generation, roughly every 20 minutes.
It's mind-boggling. Compare that to human reproduction taking decades. That speed allows bacteria to develop resistance adaptations incredibly quickly.
And they can even share that resistance with other bacterial strains, right?
Exactly. It spreads.
This material argues that a major driver of this crisis is simply overuse and even overdiagnosis of synthetic antibiotics.
Yeah, it uses penicillin as a striking example. Discovered in the 1940s, less than 50 years later, the U.S. was using 40 million pounds a year.
Wow.
Today, over 60 million pounds annually. The source suggests this level of exposure could make it practically useless in the coming century.
That scale is just immense.
It is, and the source points out that synthetic antibiotics often pass through the body without being fully processed.
And end up where?
In our water supply,
Yeah.
at low concentrations. Over time, exposure to these trace amounts can actually contribute to resistance in people just by, well, drinking the water.
That's concerning. The source also points to our society's sort of rush-around mentality.
People often want a quick fix, even for non-life-threatening issues.
Right. The book suggests that perhaps these powerful drugs should be reserved for truly serious or life-threatening situations.
And it's not just human medicine. The source includes the widespread use of antibiotics in factory farm animals as another significant factor worsening the problem.
Yeah, that's a big one. Here's a critical point the source emphasizes. Taking synthetic antibiotics can actually weaken your immune system.
Because they don't discriminate. They kill off both the bad bacteria causing the infection and the good bacteria that are vital for your health.
Especially your gut flora.
Exactly. That community of good bacteria in your gut is essential for digestion and plays a huge role in supporting your immune system.
So when they're wiped out.
As the source explains, it leaves you more vulnerable. It can lead to issues like yeast infections. A 2013 study found 25% of women taking synthetics got them.
A quarter. Wow.
Or digestive upset, experienced by about 15% of users in another study the book cites.
And that common advice about finishing your prescription, we all hear it.
Right. The source explains why it's so important. If you stop early, you typically only kill off the weaker bacteria.
Leaving the strong ones.
The strongest ones survive, and they are the ones that reproduce, creating new, highly resistant strains.
So, as the source sees it, we're caught in this cycle. Stronger drugs lead to stronger, more resistant bacteria.
Which in turn can lead to weaker human immune systems. It's a problematic loop.
Beyond resistance, the source details several common side effects of synthetic antibiotics. We've mentioned the yeast infections and digestive issues.
From disrupting gut bacteria, yeah. There's also the potential for medication interaction.
How so?
Well, antibiotics can cause side effects like headaches or stomach aches when mixed with other drugs. And the source notes they can even interfere with certain medications, like some oral contraceptives.
Okay, that's really important to know.
It really underlines why it's so important to have an open conversation with your doctor about all the medications you're taking. Everything.
Good point. The source also highlights allergies and hypersensitivity.
Yes, citing a 2011 study, it notes that antibiotics were the cause in about 32% of drug allergy cases, often showing up as, rashes or hives.
And there are rarer side effects too.
Some less common, but more serious ones mentioned include things like kidney stones, increased sensitivity to the sun, hearing loss, and even abnormal blood clotting.
Okay. So that's the picture painted of the challenges with conventional antibiotics. Quite a lot there.
Now, the source pivots dramatically, asking us to look at herbal antibiotics, history, and utilization.
And it makes a bold claim early on that herbal antibiotics, as presented here, lack the negative properties and side effects associated with their synthetic counterparts.
Yeah. So the core question the author poses is, if bacteria can evolve to resist synthetic antibiotics, why wouldn't they do the same with herbs? Makes sense to ask.
It does. And the fascinating answer provided is that herbs and plants have been evolving for millions of years.
Right.
To survive, they've developed incredibly complex structures and compounds to defend themselves against all sorts of threats, including bacteria.
And that complexity.
That sheer complexity, the source argues, is simply overwhelming for bacteria to evolve defenses against quickly.
Unlike
Many synthetic antibiotics, which often rely on just a single, relatively simple ingredient. The source suggests bacteria are much better equipped to develop resistance mechanisms against a single target.
then against the intricate chemical cocktail found naturally in a plant. Exactly. And when you consume herbs, your body interacts with this complexity.
The source clarifies that herbs rarely just function as direct killers of bacteria. Instead,
They work in a more body-centric way, according to the source. They strengthen your immune system, help cleanse the blood, improve organ function.
so helping your own body become more capable of defeating invading organisms.
Precisely. The source describes them as bodybuilding, not attack-oriented, meaning your system is enhanced for future defense. It's a different philosophy.
The source connects the shift away from herbs and Western medicine partly to economics.
Yeah, noting that the focus on single ingredients makes them easier to patent and profit from.
The patenting angle.
It suggests this shift really gained steam around the time of morphine's first use, back in the early 1800s.
Interesting. It also addresses the modern perception.
Right. While many in the developed world might be fearful of the potential future lack of effective synthetic antibiotics, they can also be cynical about herbal remedies.
Viewing them as outdated or maybe medieval. Something like that. However, the source points out that populations in many other parts of the world still rely heavily on herbs out of necessity.
And here's a truly surprising fact from the source that puts things into perspective.
Go on.
It claims oregano oil has been shown to be stronger than vancomycin.
Wow. Vancomycin is often considered one of the most potent antibiotics, reserved for serious, resistant infections in hospitals today.
Exactly. So that comparison from the source is quite striking.
It really highlights the potential strength these natural compounds might possess.
The history, according to the source, is deep-rooted in Europe.
Often associated with women using boiling herbs for remedies, traditionally.
Right. But this practice was largely displaced with the rise of medical doctors around the 13th century.
The book even notes that the French word for herb, drogue, eventually evolved into the chemical word drug as doctors began studying and cultivating herbs for synthetic development. Fascinating linguistic link there. Okay, so the source makes a case for herbs working by building the body up. A major way they do this is by strengthening your immune system.
The book describes the immune system as this incredibly complex network. It remembers past invaders, constantly defends the body.
It has an enhanced communication system that triggers responses, boosts fighter cells.
All that internal coordination, yeah.
While herbs are the focus here, the source correctly emphasizes that supporting your immunity is also fundamentally linked to lifestyle factors.
Oh, absolutely. Diet, getting enough rest, Exercise, sunlight, reducing stress. These are foundational.
And it reiterates that synthetic antibiotics can actually set back your immune system by wiping out beneficial bacteria. We covered that.
Right. The connection to the stomach and gut health is particularly stressed in the source. Your immune system gets a significant boost from a healthy gut.
Makes sense. The book points out that malnourished people are much more susceptible to disease.
Underscoring the link between what you put into your body and your immune strength. It's all connected.
The source then profiles several herbs specifically noted for their immune-boosting properties. Let's look at a few key ones. First, ginseng.
Yep. Found in varieties like Panax or Korean ginseng, the source highlights compounds called ginsenosides within it.
And what do they do, according to the source?
It says these contribute anti-inflammatory and even anti-cancer attributes, significantly boost the immune system, help heal damage from unstable molecules called free radicals,
Okay.
and can help manage diabetes. It even mentions Asian ginseng chicken soup as a traditional way to use the root filaments to support the spleen and stomach.
Which in turn helps immunity. Interesting.
Ginger, that familiar anti-inflammatory root.
We all know ginger.
The source claims it can help block the body's reaction to inflammatory genes and reduces cellular inflammation, which is often a root cause for many illnesses.
It's also noted for potentially helping with blood clots, high cholesterol, cardiovascular health.
Right. The source includes recipes like ginger chili tuna tartar and a simple ginger and turmeric tea.
Speaking of turmeric, an ancient Indian herb containing curcumin.
The source calls it rich in antioxidants that fight inflammation, says it soothes the stomach by boosting bile flow, and works against certain bacterial infections.
And it's also claimed to stimulate the adrenal glands.
Yeah, which helps decrease inflammation hormones and protect the liver, even helping to stem toxins from things like heavy drinking, according to the source.
Recipes include that ginger and turmeric tea.
And a Western wonder turmeric tofu scramble. Sounds interesting.
Ganoderma, a bitter Asian mushroom often used in traditional Chinese medicine, also gets a mention for its immune-boosting abilities.
The source says it helps fight initial signs of cancer and provides antioxidants to reduce inflammation.
And it's specifically recommended for UTIs.
Supporting the body with urinary tract infections, yeah. The book includes a recipe for reishi mushroom tea.
Noting it can be difficult to break apart and requires simmering for about 2 hours, but keeps for 3 days. Very specific detail.
Specific details like that really come straight from the source, yeah.
Yes. Cat's claw, a Peruvian herb traditionally used for stomach issues.
The source suggests its modern use includes boosting the immune system by stimulating those immune fighter cells we mentioned.
How does it do that?
It contains compounds called oxindole alkaloids, which the source claims help the body swallow up and eliminate bacteria and viruses.
Right. An immunity-boosting antiviral tea recipe is included.
Which also uses chuchuasi, another herb noted for helping with joint pain.
Ginkgo biloba leaves. They contain compounds called bilobalides and ginkgolides.
The source says these help combat free radicals, those unstable molecules we mentioned that can cause cell damage and reduce inflammation.
The source makes some significant claims here, stating it can reduce harm from radiation.
By neutralizing free radicals that cause cell death.
Yeah.
And reduce brain cell damage by approximately 50%. That's a big claim.
It is. A ginkgo herbal tea simmered for about 20 minutes is offered as a way to use it.
And finally in this section, rosemary.
That aromatic Mediterranean plant?
The source lists it as boosting the immune system, increasing blood circulation, which helps oxygen get to cells faster,
Benefiting things like brain concentration.
improving digestion, and potentially decreasing the harshness of asthma attacks. Lots of benefits listed.
And the source provides a recipe like razzmatazz rosemary grilled sweet potatoes.
As a way to easily incorporate its benefits and flavor into cooking. Practical stuff.
Okay, so that covers herbs the source highlights for strengthening the overall immune system. But what about direct attackers? We know synthetic antibiotics don't touch viruses.
Right.
But the source says plants can. How?
Well, this section focuses on antiviral herbs. It starts by reiterating that synthetic antibiotics are useless against viruses.
And can, as we discussed, even weaken your immune system, potentially making you more vulnerable or prolonging viral illness.
Exactly. Viruses themselves are tiny pieces of genetic material that sneak into healthy cells and hijack them to make more viruses.
The source notes that we're often more susceptible seasonally, like in the fall and spring.
When immune systems might be a bit lower, yeah. It presents healthy foods and herbs, often in simple forms like tea, as valuable tools for prevention and treatment.
The claim here is that several natural treatments can actively fight viruses.
And help shorten the length of illness.
Let's look at some St. John's wort, traditionally known for mood support and wound repair.
But presented here with recent lab studies highlighted in the source showing antiviral properties against things like influenza, HIV, and herpes viruses.
How does it work against viruses?
It contains chemicals like pseudohypericin, which the source claims specifically target viral DNA while leaving healthy body cells alone.
Interesting mechanism. The book describes practical uses like making a wound disinfection alcohol extract.
And a St. John's wort medicinal tea, recommending simmering for 20 minutes.
Licorice root and its compound glycyrrhizin also appear as antiviral powerhouses in the source.
Yeah, German researchers are cited for finding it effective against SARS.
Against SARS, wow.
The source notes that in studies it wasn't toxic to other cells, reduced the SARS replication rate, and blocked the virus from entering cell walls.
It's even noted to have halted HIV cell synthesis in lab tests.
According to the source, yes. Recipes like licorice root tea, simmered for 30 minutes, and a licorice and coriander meat sauce are included.
Elderberry, specifically black elderberry, is described as a renowned ancient remedy.
Particularly against influenza, yeah.
The source mentions a double-blind trial suggesting it can decrease the length of the flu by up to 4 days.
That's significant. It's said to enhance immune response, and its properties apparently bind to the virus's protein exterior, helping to prevent it from infecting cells.
Flavonoids within it also protect cells.
Right. The source adds it can reduce the replication of all 4 strains of herpes simplex and decrease HIV infection rates.
And it helps with symptoms, too.
Noted for relieving flu symptoms like loosening phlegm. The book details how to make elderberry cold and cough syrup, including dosages for both prevention and use during illness. Very practical.
Echinacea, that distinctive purple flower known widely as an immune booster,
Is also highlighted for its antiviral capabilities in the source.
The claim is that it can reduce the length and severity of upper respiratory tract infections and the common cold.
With the source emphasizing the importance of starting intake as soon as symptoms appear. Don't wait.
Detailed instructions are provided for making an echinacea root tincture using vodka.
Noting it needs to steep for 6 months, but can last 2 years and might cause a tingling sensation when tasted. Another very specific detail from the source.
Yeah, that tingle is characteristic. There's also a recipe for echinacea antiviral tea, simmered for 30 minutes.
And finally, in this section, garlic.
That everyday kitchen staple.
The source confirms it boosts the immune system and can inhibit the viral reproduction rate.
Because of.
It contains a compound called alicillin, which the source says is directly responsible for killing and inhibiting viruses.
The book offers interesting recipes and uses, from wild garlic pesto,
Even mentioning foraging for wild garlic, yeah.
to a garlic skin treatment ointment made with olive oil, coconut oil, and garlic.
And this ointment is suggested for topical use on rashes, cuts, infections, candida,
Even rubbed on the chest for pneumonia or on the throat for sore throats.
with the claim that it can cleanse and eliminate bacteria or viruses anywhere applied. Pretty versatile, according to the source.
Okay, so the source covers boosting overall immunity and fighting viruses. Now, let's look at herbs, the book profiles, specifically for their direct antibacterial actions,
Right, the antibacterials, starting with cranberry.
which the source discusses primarily in the context of urinary tract infections, particularly in women prone to UTIs,
It's said to interfere with bacteria's ability to stick to the bladder lining.
helping the body clear the bacteria and preventing them from moving up to the kidneys.
Makes sense. Recipes include homemade cranberry juice and not just Thanksgiving cranberry sauce.
Tea tree oil, sourced from an Australian tree.
Presented as an excellent topical antimicrobial agent.
The source claims it can combat Candida albicans yeast and staph infection bacteria.
And it notes that topical application has shown dramatic improvement for fungal nail infections.
Suggested uses range from a tea tree oil ointment for cuts and infections, adding it to shampoo for lice reduction,
To a natural tea tree toothpaste. Lots of external uses.
Artemisia, an Asian herb, is described as working systemically.
Meaning through the bloodstream, yeah. The source highlights its active ingredient, artemisinin.
For working against a wide range of pathogens, including Staphylococcus aureus, malaria, MRSA.
And is even discussed in relation to liver disease, cancer, and epilepsy. Quite a range.
The Artemisia family is quite broad, including sagebrush, mugwort, tarragon, and wormwood.
Right. The source even includes recipes like tarragon garlic chicken, and perhaps surprisingly mentions drinking absinthe.
Which traditionally contains wormwood, Artemisia absinthium. Interesting inclusion.
Husneya, a unique lichen found hanging on tree branches, is next.
What's special about Usnea?
The source points to its main ingredient, eustonic acid, as particularly interesting because it targets gram-positive bacteria, a specific category.
But importantly, the source notes it leaves beneficial gut flora intact.
Which helps support the immune system. That's a key distinction.
How does it work on the bacteria?
According to the source, by disrupting the bacteria's metabolic functions, leading to their death. The source provides a recipe for an Usnea tincture using high-proof alcohol like Everclear and water, steeped for 6 weeks.
And then there's oregano, a Mediterranean native described as a world-renowned antibacterial herb.
This is where the source repeats that striking claim about its active ingredient, carvacol.
Right, the vancomycin comparison.
The source explicitly states carvacol is stronger than several conventional antibiotics, including streptomycin, penicillin, and even vancomycin.
It's presented as a broad-spectrum antibiotic.
Capable of eliminating any bacteria it encounters, according to the source. Recipes include oregano tea, noting it can be bitter, but honey helps.
And oregano oil, which the source suggests can be used topically for pain, inhaled for congestion, and kills exterior bacteria and fungi.
The oil recipe involves steeping fresh leaves in olive oil in a sealed jar in sunlight for 2 weeks. Simple enough.
The mint family is also listed for its antibacterial effects.
Yeah, this large family includes herbs like thyme, sage, rosemary, lavender, basil, peppermint, and spearmint.
And the source suggests making teas from them.
Particularly highlighting peppermint, spearmint, and sage for teas, yeah.
Finally, the source points out that many everyday culinary spices also contribute.
They enhance the antimicrobial properties of the foods we eat, boost the immune system, and work against harmful bacteria.
Examples given include cinnamon, clove, chili peppers, nutmeg, horseradish, tamarind, and cumin.
Lots of common spices. The source even includes a recipe like garlic and cumin hummus, combining the beneficial properties of both key ingredients.
Okay, so we've talked about what some of these herbs are and what the source says they can do for immunity, viruses, and bacteria. But how do you actually use them?
Right, the practical side. The source provides some general methods for preparation of herbs.
Like drying.
It outlines steps for drying herbs. Harvest in late summer after the dew is gone. Avoid diseased branches and hang them upside down in a warm room, checking weekly until they're dry.
Once dried, the source recommends storing them in sealable, airtight containers.
In a dry place, and making sure to date them. Keep track.
For making a simple tea or infusion.
You use boiled water and steep the herbs for about 5 minutes before straining. Pretty standard tea making.
And a poultice. What's that exactly?
It's a hot, wet mixture applied directly to the skin. The source suggests mixing dried herbs with water to form a paste, spreading it on the skin and covering it with gauze for topical application.
And more broadly, the source encourages incorporating herbs into your everyday life.
Cooking with them, exploring making essential oils if that's your interest, or simply including them in recipes and topical creams.
To benefit from both their properties and flavor, making it part of routine.
Exactly.
So bringing this deep dive into the source material to a close, the core message that emerges is quite powerful, I think.
It's the picture of a medical world heavily reliant on synthetic drugs that are now facing a significant crisis of bacterial resistance. That's the backdrop.
And the solution this source strongly advocates for is turning back to the earth, to the natural strength found in herbal antibiotics.
The key takeaways presented are clear. Herbs have incredibly complex structures that bacteria struggle to overcome.
They work not just by attacking, but by boosting your body's own immune system.
They offer ways to combat viruses, which synthetics don't.
And they fight bacteria in different, often more complex ways than single compound drugs.
The source presents this understanding of herbal medicine as incredibly empowering.
Giving you the knowledge to make proactive choices for supporting your own health and well-being.
It's really about connecting with the natural world, enjoying the flavors and benefits these plants offer, building interior strength.
And understanding the long history of human health being intertwined with the power of plants.
Yeah, that historical perspective is interesting too.
Thinking about everything we've explored from this source material today, consider the incredible complexity that plants have evolved over millions of years, specifically to defend themselves against disease.
How does that perspective change the way you think about their potential role in supporting our own health? And, what might we potentially be overlooking by focusing primarily on simpler, single-compound solutions? Food for thought.